That's what we're seeing right now, that joy out of Wemby, along with his work ethic and his desire to want to be better and be great. But on top of that, I want Wemby to be a big man that has guard skills, playing inside out, and he's showing that right now on both sides of the floor.
Victor Wembanyama was already redefining basketball, but now he's evolved into something even scarier, taller, stronger, and absolutely unstoppable. The league's defenses have no clue how to contain him anymore.
Look out. I think Wembanyama! Jamming it! Nasty pump fake.
Standing 7'5" and weighing 245 pounds, Victor Wembanyama has become the nightmare the NBA hoped wouldn't arrive this soon. The problem the league thought would take years to develop is already here, and it's terrifying. It's not like Wembanyama was ever just hype. From the moment he stepped onto an NBA court, his impact was undeniable. Even early in his career, he was matching, and in some cases surpassing, the production of some of the greatest big men in basketball history. Remember that absurd stat line he dropped against the Raptors in Toronto back in February 2024 during his rookie season? 27 points, 15 rebounds, 10 blocks, and 5 assists. That performance put him in elite company. He joined Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, Ralph Sampson, and the Spurs' own David Robinson as the only rookies ever to post a 25-point, 15-rebound, 10-block, and 5-assist game. But here's the wild part. Wemby became the first rookie ever to record separate triple-doubles involving both assists and blocks, since those stats began being tracked in 1973 to 74. The deeper you dig, the crazier it gets. Pau Gasol was the last rookie to tally at least 150 assists and 150 blocks in a single season, and that was all the way back in 2002. Gasol needed the full year to hit 152 assists and 153 blocks. Wembanyama? He reached those same numbers in just 48 games. The only rookie in NBA history to get there faster was David Robinson, another Spurs legend. And those weren't just rookie milestones. Wembanyama also became the first player in NBA history to record a triple-double with blocks and multiple made three-pointers in the same game, after going 2 for 4 from deep against Toronto. He didn't stop there. He was the first ever to post at least 75 made threes, 150 assists, and 150 blocks in a single season. Again, all of it in just 48 games. Unreal. Then came his second season, and somehow, he leveled up even more. Victor averaged 24.3 points, 11 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and a league-leading 3.8 blocks, all in only 46 games. His three-point percentage climbed to 35.2% on nearly 9 attempts per game, which would have ranked him top 10 in volume if he'd qualified. Despite playing barely half the season, he still led the entire NBA in total blocks with 176. The next closest? Brook Lopez, with 148. In his first 100 NBA games, Wembanyama posted 2,278 points, 1,053 rebounds, 366 blocks, and 225 made threes. According to NBA.com, those 2,278 points rank 7th most by any player through their first 100 games in the past 45 years. When you stack his production next to the legends, the numbers don't just look good, they look historic.
Taken out of his hands by Trey Jones. Running the floor. Jeremy lobs it up. Victor throws it down.
He scored more points in his first 100 NBA games than LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony. And at the same time, he's blocked more shots than Shaquille O'Neal, Dikembe Mutombo, and Hakeem Olajuwon. So what happens when you combine the scoring of a KD with the rim protection of Mutombo or an Olajuwon? Before Victor Wembanyama, that kind of player was purely theoretical. Now it's real. And here's the kicker. He's already made more threes at this stage of his career than Stephen Curry. Let that sink in for a second. A 7-foot-plus center, outpacing the greatest shooter of all time in early career three-point production. As terrifying as that sounds for the rest of the NBA, Wembanyama wasn't done growing, figuratively or literally. Right before Spurs training camp, his official height in socks was updated to 7'4", which means that on the court, in sneakers, he's running, dunking, and pulling up from deep at roughly 7'5". That's absurd, even by NBA standards. Maybe only Wilt Chamberlain ever owned the sky the way Wemby does now. In fact, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the only other player in league history to match Victor's combination of points, rebounds, assists, and blocks per game from last season. No one ever doubted what Victor could do with his height. The real question was always how he'd handle the NBA's physicality, the constant contact, the elbows, the grown man strength. Because let's be honest, Victor has always been on the lighter side. But this off-season, he attacked that head-on. Fans got their first glimpse of the new, stronger Wemby during the Spurs preseason intra-squad scrimmage. He picked up steam near midcourt, took one explosive hop at the foul line, and crashed straight into Luke Kornet's chest in the paint. Kornet, a legit 7 feet 2 inches, 250-pound big, went stumbling backward as Wemby powered through and finished with a two-handed slam. The crowd of 10,000 erupted as the unicorn turned into a battering ram. Even Kornet had to admit afterward, he's obviously gotten a lot stronger. He can honestly be a monster. That play wasn't just a highlight. It was confirmation of a brutal, violent off-season transformation. Wembanyama spent the summer building real NBA muscle. He trained one-on-one with legends like Hakeem Olajuwon and Kevin Garnett, hit the weight room relentlessly, and by his own admission, ate like it was a full-time job. On paper, the numbers sound modest. The Spurs now list him at 240 pounds, about 5 more than last season. But that's up nearly 25 pounds from draft night, when he hovered between 210 and 215. And whatever the scale says, the difference shows. Wembanyama is playing with noticeably more force, aggression, and intent. Just ask Luke Kornet. That one play, bulldozing through another 7-footer for a dunk, might seem small, but it sent a message to every big man in the league. Wemby isn't the one getting pushed around anymore. And it's not just his body that's changing. His entire game is evolving with it. His confidence, his training, his understanding of physicality. All of it points to a player ready to take another massive leap in the 2025-26 season. The scariest part? He's still only getting started.
Pass the ball out to the corner. There you go.
Getting to this point wasn't simple. Everything about Victor Wembanyama's transformation has been meticulously engineered around the unique demands of his 7'5" frame. Ever since that late growth spurt that redefined how he had to move, eat, train, and even think about his body, every step has been calculated. When he first entered the league, legitimate questions swirled about whether his frame could withstand the relentless grind of the NBA. 82 games, nightly collisions with 250-pound centers, back-to-backs, and cross-country travel. He answered those doubts in his first 2 seasons, until a new and completely unexpected challenge hit: deep vein thrombosis. At just 21 years old, with the basketball world at his fingertips, Wemby was suddenly forced to confront something few young athletes ever think about: his own mortality. One day, he was the league's most exciting young star. The next, he was sitting in a hospital bed, facing medical charts and long stretches of uncertainty. But Victor didn't waste time feeling sorry for himself. He made a choice. Before Spurs training camp opened, he made his mindset crystal clear. I'm so much more under control, and my conditioning has gotten so much better. But that comes at a price. What I've done this summer is world class. Even in professional sports, I don't think many people have trained the way we trained this summer. Bold words, even by his standards. But he backed them up. So what exactly did he do? It started with the brutal defensive drills his coaches designed. Workouts built to break the average player. One, now nicknamed All Against Wemby, has already become Spurs folklore. In it, Wembanyama defends a one-on-one sequence against every player in the gym. One by one, his teammates attack him. And once he's faced them all, he sprints to the other end of the floor and does it again. No breaks. No coaching cues. No huddles. Just a conveyor belt of players trying to score on him while he fights through exhaustion. While his teammates caught their breath and regrouped between turns, there was only one guy who didn't get a second off: Wemby. When he calls his off-season training violent, he's not exaggerating. The all-against Wemby drill is the perfect example. Relentless, punishing, and designed to push him beyond what even elite pros would consider normal. At preseason media day, he put it bluntly: "This summer, I chose to do something much more violent. Maybe that takes away from some time I could have spent on shooting the basketball. But it doesn't matter. I wanted to get my body back." That quote hits differently when you remember what came before it. This was a player who had spent the spring in and out of hospitals, unsure of what his future even looked like. For someone who had built his life around protecting his body, preserving his rare generational frame, that was a cruel twist. Once doctors finally cleared him to travel again, he needed a total reset. So, he went as far from basketball as he could, literally and mentally. His journey to regain control began in China and Japan. In China, Victor trained at a Shaolin temple, practicing Chan meditation and Shaolin Kung Fu, ancient disciplines rooted in balance, breath, focus, and gratitude for life's smallest details. It wasn't about basketball. It was about rebuilding himself from the inside out. As Victor later explained, it makes you understand lessons that nothing else could have made me understand. Those experiences reshaped his worldview. After a health scare that shook his identity, connecting with people and cultures centered on inner peace helped him rebuild the foundation he needed, not just as an athlete, but as a person. Of course, he admits that the moves he learned at the temple won't show up in an NBA game. They're not exactly legal out there, he joked. But that was never the point. The real goal was to teach his body how to move in new, unaccustomed ways, to feel in control again. From there, his path veered back to the modern world and into another revolutionary training philosophy. Once his rehab progressed enough to resume full basketball work, Wembanyama linked up with teammate Harrison Barnes in Los Angeles to train under skill coach Noah LaRoche, a pioneer of one of the most cutting-edge approaches in player development today, the constraints-led approach, or CLA. Instead of repetitive, scripted drills, CLA is built entirely around game-like chaos. Every decision, every reaction happens live. No patterns, no pre-planned moves. The goal is to train the brain and body to constantly adapt, to search for the best possible solution in real time. When the player using that method happens to be a 7'5" phenom with freakish reach and coordination, that unpredictability becomes terrifying. If Victor truly learns to master the flow of basketball itself, the timing, the rhythm, the way one movement unlocks another, there might not be a defense in the league capable of stopping him. The CLA teaches players to see how actions naturally chain together, how one drive shifts a defense, how a rotation opens a passing lane, how a slight angle change can trigger a completely different solution. It's not about memorizing plays. It's about understanding the essence of basketball, playing with pure instinct and intelligence rather than rehearsed patterns. By the second week, Victor told LaRoche he could feel his body finally adapting, his rhythm returning, his confidence rising. As he let go of old habits and expectations, his movements became more natural, fluid, and powerful. And everyone who worked with him noticed the same thing, his discipline. Because for all his otherworldly gifts, the size, the coordination, the shooting touch, what truly separates Victor Wembanyama is that rare combination of unimaginable talent and unrelenting work ethic. He's not just a 7'5" anomaly anymore. He's becoming the blueprint for the future of basketball. But Victor Wembanyama is simply built differently. His habits are relentless, unshakable, and deeply ingrained. Early mornings, late nights, often both. He's the kind of player who doesn't need motivation. He is the motivation. His routine is ruthless, and his consistency has become legendary inside the Spurs facility. Two-a-days are his standard, not his exception. Trainers say Wemby was pushing through that schedule 5 or 6 times a week, a load that would wear most NBA players out before the weekend even hits. Now that training camp is underway, that same drive is shaking up the Spurs culture from the inside. Even veterans who hadn't seen him work behind closed doors before are realizing just how serious he is. Lindy Waters III, a new addition to San Antonio's roster, said it best. At his age, it's eye-opening to see somebody come in and demand excellence and demand greatness. He can't do that without putting himself on that pedestal and making sure that nobody can come at him and say anything. It's easy for him to demand that, and it makes me want to work harder. That's the thing about Wemby. He doesn't lead with words. He leads by example. There's a sense of awe when his teammates talk about his work ethic and open-mindedness. They've already seen him do things that defy physics, gravity-bending dunks, impossible blocks, sequences that look like CGI in real life. Physically, he's already shown them the impossible. But it's his discipline that leaves them speechless. Inside that locker room, Wemby isn't just trying to be great. He's redefining what great even means. His work has started to reset the expectations for everyone around him. As he said himself after the Spurs' first preseason game, defense is non-negotiable. It's not something you can't do if you want to be part of our team. We're going to hold each other accountable. We know the coaches are going to hold us accountable. It doesn't matter your status. Defense is non-negotiable. After a year that took him halfway around the world and nearly away from basketball for good, Victor Wembanyama is back, and he's better than ever. He knows what's at stake. He knows he's living on borrowed time in this league. Because if that blood clot condition ever returns, it could end everything in an instant. It's the same condition that forced Chris Bosh, an 11-time All-Star, into retirement at age 32. Wemby understands that reality better than anyone. There's only so much he can control, but the things he can control, he's pushing to the absolute limit. That determination was on full display in his first preseason game against former NBA player Frank Kaminsky and the Guangzhou Long Lions of the Chinese Basketball Association. From the opening tip, it was clear, this wasn't the same Victor Wembanyama. He wasn't just bigger or stronger. He was different. In just 16 minutes, he posted 9 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 7 assists, a stat line that didn't scream dominance, but whispered something even more dangerous. Evolution, because Wemby isn't really a center anymore, if he ever truly was. He's morphing into something completely new. The Spurs have begun using him like a wing creator, and it's terrifying how natural it looks. In the Spurs open scrimmage and that first preseason matchup, Wemby spent long stretches initiating the offense himself, bringing the ball up, attacking downhill, and creating opportunities by drawing defenders and kicking out early. His offensive game now resembles Kevin Durant far more than Anthony Davis. With rookie Dylan Harper still adjusting to the NBA pace and several rotation players recovering from injuries, Wemby had the freedom to experiment, and the results were eye-opening. He ran pick and rolls, pushed the tempo in transition, and orchestrated half-court sets with patience and poise. But what stood out most wasn't his scoring. It was his decision-making. He wasn't forcing shots or calling for lobs after every pass. He was moving, spacing, and trusting the offense to flow through him and beyond him. He took just 1 3-pointer in that entire game, something that's happened only once before in his career. Last season, Wemby had as many games attempting 15 threes as he did taking 5. This time, instead of spamming jumpers, he was spamming kickouts, and that change wasn't an accident. During his summer training in Los Angeles with Harrison Barnes and coach Noah LaRoche, relocation became a major point of emphasis. The goal was to help Wemby use his gravity, his ability to draw multiple defenders at once, to create opportunities for teammates instead of always consuming them. Those sessions drilled him to keep moving, to never let defenses settle into a rhythm, and to trust that freeing others would ultimately free him. Wemby himself admitted that realization was a turning point, that even though he can score from anywhere, he needed to make life easier for his teammates first. When everyone around him thrives, the game opens up in ways stats can't measure. Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson echoed that sentiment after the game. For all the highlights Victor will produce this year, we keep reminding him that the subtle reads, the little plays that make his teammates better, are the true wow moments that define greatness. And that's exactly what year 3 is shaping up to be. The transition from phenomenon to foundation. Year 1 was about proving he belonged. Year 2 was about survival and recovery. Year 3? It's about elevation. Asterisk, it's the year stars stop chasing viral peaks and start raising their team's floor, possession by possession, play by play. Yes, these have only been preseason games so far, but what Victor Wembanyama showed, his patience, vision, and self-awareness, was something far beyond his years. He didn't just look ready to dominate. He looked ready to lead. That's what makes him terrifying. The potential is undeniable. The mindset is unshakable. The willingness is unmistakable. He may not reach his final form this season, but make no mistake, the rest of the league is not ready for what's coming. Because once Victor Wembanyama fully realizes what he's becoming, he won't just be one of the best players in basketball. He'll be the standard every player after him is measured against. If you're not watching Wemby every night, you're missing history in real time. We'll be following Victor's rise all season long, breaking down every moment that defines his evolution, and every game that proves greatness doesn't wait for permission. So if you enjoyed this breakdown, remember to hit like, subscribe, and check out one of the videos on your screen now. The future of basketball isn't coming. It's already here.